Katz and Cosby, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
For the big breaking news, let's go to the great John Solomon, investigative journalist and founder of Just the News. John, fill us in.
Well, so much going on. Let me start with some news off of Capitol Hill. As you know, 2-3 years ago, we began writing stories at Just the News, looking at some of the unusual behavior on the massive Democratic online fundraising platform known as ActBlue. That led to an extensive investigation at the Justice Department and Congress. Congress recently brought the CEO of ActBlue. She took the Fifth Amendment over and over again. Now, the House Republican committees, 3 of them, are joining together, House Judiciary, House Administration, and House Oversight, saying that they may move to find the ActBlue CEO and other officials in contempt of Congress, i.e. doing exactly what Democrats did a couple of years ago against Steve Bannon and others in the January 6th investigation. They are not complying with these subpoenas, and we may soon be in court on a major scandal involving ActBlue. So that's something everybody's talking about. Meanwhile,
and by the way, John, before you move forward, it's huge money. I mean, Judge, we've talked about it. Judge Weinberg's. I mean, we're talking about massive amounts of money.
Right, and $1 billion in the last 2 elections.
How much?
Couple billion.
Wow.
Yeah,
that they moved. I mean,
it's enough to move the votes, don't you think, John?
Oh yeah, that's a lot of money. You could buy a lot of votes. You could buy a lot of get out the votes with that. Absolutely.
And the interesting thing, by the way, on this this concern about issuing the subpoena and then not turning over documents, is they're asserting all kinds of nonsense like attorney-client privilege. But if you take a hard look at what they're looking for, it has nothing to do. One was a resignation letter. Right. The other one was a guy seeking whistleblower protection. That's not attorney-client privilege. So there's no basis not to turn it over. So you really have a good enforcement action for contempt here.
Yeah, I think you're right. Now, it'll depend on what sort of judge you get in the Washington, D.C. area, because some of the judges here have not ruled inconsistently with the Constitution, which requires Congress going up a notch or two to the appellate level. But you're right. On the facts of the law, the congressional committees are in a very strong position. And because they're trying to create legislative fixes to make sure there's no cheating in future elections, I think courts are going to defer to Congress in a big way, given the issue that's there. I want to get to a couple other big things that happened today. There's real signs of progress today in the Iran peace negotiations. J.D. Vance acknowledging that Iran has agreed to allow atomic weapons inspectors into the country regularly. That's a big leap forward. We would give them some relief in return for doing that. So the give and take is officially beginning now. There's going to be bumps. There's going to be hiccups. It could all fall apart. But the fact that Iran came to the table with that today is creating some enthusiasm, not only in the markets, but in the intelligence community a little bit. And then I want to get to a couple stories we had over the weekend about my favorite top doctor. I've been working on him for 2 decades, all the way back when I was an AP reporter 20 years ago.
Are you talking about Dr. Fauci or Dr. Biden?
Dr. Fauci on this one, absolutely. 20 years ago, I documented how he tested AIDS drugs on foster children in New York without proper protections. Now we are starting to see from the documents that Tulsi Gabbard was kind enough to declassify this past weekend, the CIA knew from a video it located early in the pandemic that Dr. Fauci's own collaborators on research were admitting that they were enhancing the coronavirus and trying to make it more lethal to humans at the Wuhan lab in China, the very thing that Anthony Fauci was claiming in public he did not do. And the CIA was so convinced that he was lying to Congress about these issues, a whistleblower actually made a referral to the Inspector General of the Intelligence Committee. That's the chief watchdog. Now, normally, the right thing to do is that chief watchdog would send it to the watchdog for the Fauci's health agency, NIH, and then there would be a criminal investigation, but not under the Biden years. You know, the Inspector General basically threw it to a political appointee and buried that criminal referral, buried that whistleblower complaint, and as a result, Fauci escaped any investigation or prosecution. Then, of course, in the final hours of the Biden presidency, he got a pardon which protected him further. So we're learning a lot more of just how bad things were in the Fauci truth-telling world.
Wow. And so because of that pardon, and I'm looking at Vito Fossella, who's here in studio, because of that, he can't, right? I mean, there can't be any follow-up, right?
Don't tell Rand Paul that, because Rand Paul was on my show last week saying, hey, guys, we can waive this pardon. We can go and challenge it. It was an auto pen pardon. Ron Johnson and several other senators, Rand Paul, are urging the president to treat that pardon as non-existent, to say it was unlawful, it wasn't signed by Joe Biden, it was an auto pen, and challenge it in court and maybe prosecute him. So the pressure's on. We'll see what the Justice Department does.
Vito.
But where does it go? Well, what's the next step here? And, there's a famous secretary under Ronald Reagan that they destroyed him, like so many people that questioned the government's policy during COVID. And he said, where do I go to get my reputation back?
Ray Donovan.
So, Ray Donovan was right.
Yeah, in this case, it's the opposite.
Not the TV show.
Ray Donovan.
Secretary of Labor.
And so, hey, where do people go for that to get their reputation back? And what happens next as it relates to these findings and the release of declassified information?
Yeah, nobody, where nobody goes to jail. Nobody gets in trouble.
That's exactly it. And we have a story coming up in the next couple of days of all the different ways Democrats have thwarted accountability for people who clearly violated the law. It clearly is the story of the last decade. It takes us years to find the truth. When we find the truth and we find someone who broke the law, they always seem to walk up. They get a pardon. The statute of limitations expires. The answer to this question of whether Donald Trump will break the cycle rests in Fort Pierce, Florida, where grand jury subpoenas are going out on a daily basis now. Witnesses are starting to go before the grand jury. A guy named Joe DeGeneva, 50-year record of prosecuting people all the way back to Marion Barry. He's got the flight stick. Now, we don't know yet whether he'll be able to get the sort of accountability that has eluded us in prior prosecutions. But the answer is now there is pretty clear evidence that the intelligence community knew in real time that Anthony Fauci had not told the truth to Congress. They knew in real time that the virus emanated from Wuhan, and they kept us in the dark. It could have changed the way we reacted
Big
to
time.
the pandemic.
I mean, big time. Think of all the people. I mean, so many people died and so many issues surrounding it. I mean, it's just horrible. It's absolutely horrible. John, stay on it, definitely. Thank you very much.
We will. Great to be on the show, guys.
We love having you.